All right, it's time to lace them up and head out for a run. But before I forget, the last few videos I forgot to mention about my camp. Registration is now open for the Cool Impossible Camp, August 6th through 8th, a 3-day camp here in the Tetons. So I keep the camp size is small, so get on it if you're interested before everybody else does. I would love to see you here. It's a great time, and we're just exploring your running, exploring the mountains, and using the mountains to really take your running to the next level. So hope to see you out here this summer. Check out the website, links at the bottom of this video. If you are interested for more information, you can kind of check out the website. So anyways, as you can see, the snow's rapidly starting to melt. We've had a few really good sunny days that things are starting to melt pretty quickly, and I get kind of excited. Spring's renewal, right? Time to hit it. So with that, I'm also, now that kind of the snow's melted, consistently out on the bike paths. We can't get out in the mountains yet on trails until May 1, but now I'm able to kind of go to my go-to road shoe, the Altra Escalante, and this is the Racer. I've got on the Racer. So Altra has two Escalantes, the Racer, which I'm using, and kind of what they consider just the normal Escalante. And I prefer the Racer because it's a little lighter. The Racers are, for a size 9 sample size, it's 210 grams. The normal trainer Racer, the normal Escalante trainer shoe is 250 grams, so quite a bit heavier. You also, the Escalante Racers stack height is 17 millimeters, opposed to the normal Escalante is 19. I found that kind of that 17 millimeter stack height is kind of what I prefer for out in the roads, and in general, you know, that's my sweet spot. And the Ultras are 0 drop, so I like these. I've kind of found that these are really my kind of go-to road shoes once again things start to melt out and I don't have to worry about ice and stuff like that, because there's no grip on these. They're just nice and light and fast, and if there's any bit of ice, they're not good. So I'm excited now that, you know, spring's kind of sprung, and I can use these kind of exclusively now down the road before we hit the trails. So anyway, so I'm headed out for about a 50-minute run. I'm headed down south. You can see this is the kind of the mountain range that I run in the summer. Just right out the door. I've shown this in other videos from a further distance, but just wanted to give you a frame of reference where I'm at home here. But I'm headed south on the bike path, and it's a rolling course, and just gonna kind of nice warm up, and then just kind of keep it easy and steady. I was at the track yesterday, did 100 sprints and 200 efforts to again continue to get used to my body running a little bit faster on dry terrain and getting ready for track. So today's going to be just a nice, easy, steady run on rolling terrain, and then tonight I'll go out for maybe a little bit more tempo. But let's hit it. What we're going to talk about today, and it kind of piggybacks on a video I did a few days ago about talking about how there's ways that we can race smarter to actually have a better race, and some tactics that we can do that's regardless of your training, things that we can put in place to race smarter and race more efficiently and have a better race. And I'll use one of my athletes as an example. She had a good race over this weekend. We'll talk about that, and also talk about how these strategies can kind of come into play with your warm-up. So all right, so I'm gonna head out the door, and we're about halfway. We're gonna hit a bench, nice overlook the mountains, and we'll kind of talk there. All right, see you there. Okay, here's the bench. All right. I'm gonna turn towards the sun as it's come out, and it's about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, -1 Celsius, so very pleasant and hard to believe that literally 3 weeks ago I was in -30 degrees. No, I have gloves.
Ice fishing.
And
Can you even
your
see
frozen
me?
eyelashes.
I am.
It is so beautiful, but it's twice as cold this morning as it was last morning, -30. But look at this. Just crazy beautiful this morning. What a difference. And it's just really pleasant today. Like I said, things are starting to melt out. Anyways, coach speak today. We're going to talk about one of my athletes over the weekend. She did a 3-hour race on trail, rolling course, lots of ups and downs. And this is a very low priority race for her. She has longer races coming up later in the spring, and those are the more important, higher priority races. So right now in March, it's very important for us not to have her race too hard. And the point of this video is how we can race smarter. And my goal for her going into this 3-hour race is kind of done on loop. It wasn't always the same loop, but you're always kind of coming back to where you start to get the 3 hours in. They had, I think, an 8-hour and maybe a 6-hour distance as well, or time distance. But again, I wanted her to race smart. We're working on her gaining confidence of starting easy and finishing strong. Okay, so the purpose of, or my goal for her for this 3-hour race was to, first hour was easy, second hour was maybe easy to moderate, and then the third hour was a hard threshold push. So it essentially became a workout where that last hour, that's what we were focused on. And I gave her watt parameters to kind of shoot for, and we had goals for that last hour. And I wanted her to continue to gain confidence of starting easy and finishing strong. So she's an ultra runner, and like I've mentioned in many videos, you know, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, especially in ultra marathon, but all distances, is starting out too fast and then slowing or having diminishing returns later on. And again, especially with ultra marathoning, starting too easy or starting too hard is still easy, and it feels easy. Okay, so we've really got to understand and play around in training, especially training races, to really develop that confidence of what's appropriate versus what is maybe too fast. And this goal for her of easy, moderate, hard within the 3 hours, she started out too easy for it to be a higher priority race. So if this was a higher priority race, I would have her start out a little bit harder. But the idea again is that I wanted her, the workout was the last hour of a threshold push to really train the brain, train the body physiologically. That's kind of where we're at with her training right now, is to really start to dial into that push and pushing harder than race pace. Okay, so that was the key, is I wanted a third of the race to be much harder than what her steady 3-hour race pace would normally be like. And that did another key aspect for her in her training, is that, like I said, this is a very low priority race. We're entering a very big part of her early season, and I didn't want her to have a lot of recovery if she ran the 3-hour race really hard the whole time. Okay, that would require a lot of recovery, and I didn't want that. And this was the first week, finishing up the first week of a big phase for her. So she was going into this race with already hard training in her that week. Okay, so again, the key was 1 hour hard push to accomplish everything I talked about, but again, to not have the recovery requirements of a hard 3-hour race. Okay, so that was the key. She's ready to go. She felt great afterwards, and she's right back into her next part of her week phase of one of her big training weeks. So again, she's going right into that without needing a whole lot of recovery. I gave her a kind of a Monday, Tuesday easy recovery runs, but it's not like a normal recovery week after a typical hard race. Okay, so the other key goal we had for her is that I told her, hey, race more by feel, use your data, use your heart rate as knowledge to help you have an easy hour, a moderate hour, and then a hard last hour. And I said, don't worry about being a kind of a slave to your watch, but run more by feel, and we'll look at it afterwards and see how well you did. Okay, and she nailed it. Okay, so her first hour, she averaged 10:22 minute miles. Her second hour, she averaged 9:34 minute miles. And her last hour, she averaged 9:02 minute miles. So she was 90 seconds faster per mile in that last hour than her first hour. Okay, and that was what we wanted. But the other point of this video is how we can race smart. Even though this was a low priority race for her, and a higher priority race, I've talked about negative splitting, finishing strong, making the second half of the race faster than the first half. Okay, even though we broke this up into thirds, she was much faster that last hour. So she nailed it, and she nearly ran down the winner. She came in second. She was a minute behind the winner by starting so much easier, and she ran her down. Okay, so again, trying to deal with having the ego too of really starting super easy. Okay, and being okay with that when she wants to do really well. And she still did very well, and that was the key, is that, hey, we're gonna have this strategy, we're gonna teach you to be mellow, put the ego in the pocket early on, finish strong, and with this goal, with this training goal, still see how well you can do. And she came in second, a minute back from the winner. No doubt if this would have been a higher priority race, and we started just a little bit faster with a strong finish, she would have won. But again, that's her own personal story as far as winning, coming in second. You know, the idea, the more important aspect is dial into your own performance. So, okay, so try it out in training. Okay, you've got to start putting the ego in the pocket early so you can finish strong, and then try it in lower priority races so you gain the confidence. You can't just do it. It's not like cramming for that big test and, you know, your high priority race, all of a sudden you're going to be able to do it. You've got to do it in training, in your training races, to gain the confidence that it's going to work. Okay, in one area where I always put this into play with my daily training runs is I institute this same philosophy into my warm-ups. And I have athletes from all over the world come visit me for training, have people come into my camps, mentioned a camp earlier, and they're always surprised at how easy and slow my warm-up is. Today it's an easy run, so my warm-up was 10 to 15 minutes, and it was 2 minutes per mile slower than my easy speed. Okay, so really super easy. I'm working on cadence, working on getting my brain used to the cadence, my form, just really easy. And I found that then building into whatever the workout is of the day, you're gonna feel amazing. So try that out as well. Negative split your workouts, or use the warm-up to really back off and gain confidence in going super bloody easy, but then anecdotally see how great you feel later in the workout. Okay, so give that a try. Pick out some training races the whole goal of the training race is to execute this type of philosophy. Again, you're going to need to gain that confidence for your bigger races. Okay, so give that a try. I am headed home and into the headwind, but man, the sun's out, and I really appreciate you stopping by, and I'm out of here. So again, thanks again, and leave your questions. Questions are helping me for future videos. So, all right, see ya.